Senator Cortez Masto is recognized from her office.
Thank you. Chairman Brown, Ranking Member Toomey, I want to start also by thanking Irene Gray, our stenographer, who has served the Senate for over 27 years. Thank you for your service, and I wish you well. I also want to thank the Ranking Member and the Chairman for this important hearing. Similar to what I have heard from all of my colleagues, I too am concerned about institutional investors and the impact it is having in Nevada by we seeing all these properties being purchased. I know in my state in 2021, 29% of the homes purchased in the Las Vegas metro area were bought by investors. My challenge is I can't tell how many are institutional, and I think it has everything to do with what I heard earlier about too many LLCs, not enough transparency, and being able to track this. So, Ms. Gianto, can I ask you, because we've heard the negative impacts by some of these institutional investors. I'm not saying it's all of them, but some of them that we have had and heard in our community. Can you share some examples of communities effectively countering the pressures on home prices brought on by purchases from institutional investors?
So I would say that the challenges that low-income tenants face from institutional and other landlords is primarily based in the fact that we have few tenant protections throughout the country. And there is a tremendous power imbalance that tilts heavily in favor of landlords, especially institutional investors, at the expense of low-income renters. And so we need to rebalance that power so it's more equal, and tenants have protections against exorbitant rent hikes, against these kind of fees for profit strategies, and against the increased evictions. And there's a whole set of tenant protections that should be implemented at the federal, state, and local level.
Well, let me ask you this as we talk about finding that balance, because I do think it is important. We were talking about vouchers and the positive impact it does have for stability for tenants. But can you talk a little bit about what vouchers also does and brings to property managers and the benefits as well?
Sure. It's reliable income for property owners, for landlords. If they have a tenant who has a Section 8 voucher, then they will get regular rent paid each month. And they have the benefit of knowing that that rent will be stable and will be continuous. So it's a benefit for landlords as well.
And it also gives them the ability to prepare for and help them upkeep their property as well. Is that right?
Well, the rents are pegged at the fair market rate, which should be enough for landlords to be able to operate and maintain their properties.
Let me jump to Professor Desmond, because you included manufactured home communities in your book, Evicted. And thank you so much for the work that you provided in Evicted. Very enlightening. Can I ask you this? The other area I'm concerned about is manufactured homes being purchased by private equity as well. And the impact that we are seeing that also on the security and stability of the tenants. Can you talk a little bit about how what you're seeing there as well with respect to our manufactured home communities? It's the first time I've heard so many in my state that are now losing their stability, losing their homes, and these private equity companies are coming in and purchasing up all of these communities.
Senator, I think your concern is warranted. What we've seen is institutional investors buying up manufacturing housing, which serves an enormous source of housing for low-income Americans, and often evicting entire mobile home parks and displacing entire communities. Let me just give you one example of how institutional investing is different also than just normal landlording. So only about 5% of Americans are paid on a monthly basis right now, but rent comes due at the beginning of the month. So for that 95% of Americans, often they can't make rent during the first of the month. So if you have an institutional investor as your landlord, you often get just an eviction notice by computer or by algorithm. And you pay to stay, you pay the late fees and the eviction fines to stay. But by our estimate, that increases your housing cost by 20%. which means the rental housing crisis, as scary as it is on paper, is even worse if you're under those kind of conditions.
Thank you. I notice my time is up. Thank you again.